Hello and welcome to another episode of the Basepaths. I'm Luke Crummage. Joining me today, Baseball America's number 16 prospect, Jett Williams. How we doing, buddy?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. Super excited to talk to you. You're a very unique player because, you're up there with the top guys
Mhm.
talent-wise, but, a lot of people, and I'm sure you hear this all the time, it's the height, and
Yeah.
people dog you for it for no reason. um, when in reality, baseball's getting more and more athletic, and being, a 6'7" shortstop like O'Neal Cruz doesn't matter that much.
Mhm.
So we're going to talk a little bit about your game and how, you've been able to prove all these people wrong through all of that because a major league scout is quoted as saying, even at your height, you're the safest pick in the draft,
Mhm.
which is, very high praise from a
Mhm.
MLB scout. So yeah, man, just talk a little bit about, the work ethic and how that got you to be this top guy.
Yeah. I mean, just knowing that kind of I have two older brothers and a sister, and they all played sports. So it's kind of like I'm always competing with them growing up, and I couldn't be I was kind of like the little young dude, and so I was always trying to compete against my older siblings and stuff. So I feel like that definitely helped me the way like that I work and like I worked out with them, and I always wanted to beat them and things. So I feel like that kind of just helped me be the player I am today.
Like I said, you've been called, safest pick in the draft. You're like a lock top 25 guy. ESPN released a mock today and it said your lowest is probably 22, which that gets me into my second question. Do you see those types of things? Like, do you go on and are you looking at these mocks or you just kind of keep your head down and grind?
I mean, I try not to really look at it. I mean, I just kind of just keep my head down and grind. I mean, it's all kind of out there. So I look at it. It's like, yeah, good and stuff. But I mean, just kind of when the day happens, I'll be excited.
That day is coming up rather soon. We got less than 20 days here till the draft. Um, in your preparation for the draft, I assume you went to the combine, correct?
No, I didn't go.
Oh, you didn't go. You're the first guy I talked to who hasn't gone. And I mean, I've talked to guys who have like, they didn't work out. They just went and did
Yeah,
medicals and stuff. So being that you didn't go, you didn't go because your high school season, I'm assuming, right?
I just didn't go. Just I don't know. I kind of was busy that day or that week. I didn't really
You
need
just
to go.
That's true. You don't really need to go. Your game does speak for itself. That's interesting because, a lot of people went, some people had very negative experiences saying the MLB was kind of twisting what they put out and stuff like that. Um, but being that you didn't go, once again, you don't really have much left to prove in, the last few weeks here. But how has the experience leading up to the draft been for you?
I think it's been pretty awesome. I mean, just kind of knowing that going in this high school season, I kind of just had to play and just kind of do my thing. I mean, I even though I was kind of the high praise guy in high school and stuff, and kind of just didn't let it really get to me. I mean, kind of just knowing that there's just 30 scouts there watching you every game, like always having an eye on you. I feel like kind of it was fun. It was a good experience, but I kind of like I said, I just kind of kept my head down, just grinded.
Um, Yeah. So this is bringing it back a little bit to last year. You were touted as the best hitter on the summer showcase circuit, even though you were dealing with a shoulder injury, which again, you're going against like guys like Tamar and Drew and stuff like that, and you're being touted as the best hitter. Talk a little bit about your swing because it is a very, I don't want to say simple swing because obviously every swing is complex, but you don't have many like checking points. So your swing is very repeatable. So just talk a little bit about how like you developed that swing.
Yeah, so kind of back in my eighth grade year, I kind of started the little foot tap, kind of like Arenado, but not as much as he did. It was kind of just more of like my timing thing. And I kind of started that, and I struggled with it at first, and I kind of kept going with it, and I feel like that really helped me just kind of getting my rhythm down. And I feel like when I'm doing my feet, I'm kind of all fluid. I have that leg kick, and it's just kind of not doing too much things. Uh, knowing that you have power and stuff, but try not to like do too much and try to hit a home run every time. Just kind of go out there and stick with your approach and just have fun in the game.
And obviously, like, having fun out there is the most important part because if you're not having fun, you're not gonna perform well. And that's something that like big leaguers say that. Like,
Yeah,
you look at the best teams, they're always enjoying the game.
yeah,
There's
sure.
never, really good teams who are cursing each other out and throwing things at each other.
Yeah.
But are you a guy who on the field actually like not like, trash talks, but like you chirp a little bit? Are you a very like, quiet on the field guy, leads your own team instead of going at the other team?
Yeah, I'm never the type of person just to bark at the other team. I kind of just because baseball is kind of a humbling sport. You can't really say anything to another team because then you'll strike out, and it's like, oh, I mean, you're talking crap, and then you just struck out. So it's kind of just, I mean, I don't really say too much. I mean, I'm never really that type of player. I just kind of go out there and have fun, and I mean, just lead with my team, just stick with my team, and try not to experience any of this crap talking to the other teams.
I've said this before on this podcast, but I don't really know how other people can do that stuff. Like I don't get it. Like how can you go out there and start chirping at the other team when you hit a home run and then strike out 3 times in the very next game against them?
Yeah,
Like I don't know how you can stomach doing that.
yeah,
Like
for sure.
it's just not something I could do, but some players have the swag like that. Like a guy like Jazz Chisholm. But I could never do any of that. Um, so you batted, 411, 7 bombs, 41 RBIs, which is a, crazy increase from last year where you had 12. So you're already one of these top guys, best hitter in a summer showcase, and then you come out this year and you absolutely ball. Was that a good feeling? Like, was that a rewarding feeling to you, or was it just, hey, another day in the office?
Just kind of knowing, I mean, kind of more of like all the hard work's paying off. Um, I feel like, I mean, I still had a lot of, I think I had like 35 walks on the season. So it's just more of sticking with my approach this season because I knew that if there's going to be people on base, they're going to walk me and I was going to have a lot of walks or hit by pitches. So it's more so just staying within my zone and kind of not getting out of that and chasing everything and trying to get myself out.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that is talked about you a lot is you stay in your shoes. You're not
Mhm.
like coming out here swinging really early at balls. You're letting it get deep into the zone and you're hammering it, which is obviously something that translates really well to the upper leagues. So that's a great thing to have. And
Mhm.
another thing that's talked about you a lot is, you know, you are one of the guys who has the hand speed and the arm strength to stay at shortstop, which in this draft there are not many of those guys, in my opinion, personally. A lot of these guys are going to be switching to third, I'm not third, second base or, center field because of their speed. So the fact that you're sitting at going to be, in my eyes, you're going to be a guy who stays at shortstop, just brings even more value. And even with that shoulder bothering you, like you said, you threw really well at the summer showcase and everything. So just talk about how, in the field, do you feel like the same comfort that you do when you're batting, when you're fielding at short?
Yeah, just knowing that. I mean, shortstop's kind of my natural position. I mean, I've played it all my life, and I feel like, I mean, that's my position. So why not? Unless I mess up or start to boot balls, then you can move me. But I feel like I can play shortstop at the next level, and my arm is feeling great now, so I don't have any problems with my arm or anything. So I'm pretty comfortable at short.
I mean, first of all, great to hear that your shoulder's fine now and it's not like a nagging thing because, that does happen to people, especially in the infield when you're throwing the ball all the time and it becomes a nagging thing. There's really not much more to say about your game because it does speak for itself. I mean, when MLB.com saying, hey, this kid's going to hit 15 homers a year, at least in the big leagues, that's some pretty high praise for a guy who, again, is going to be playing short. A lot of people see as, you don't, not that you only hit for contact, but you are a very good contact hitter and really I mean, you're a 5 tool guy, if we're honest, and probably a 5 tool guy that's not just going to be a 5 tool guy, in the lower levels of minor league baseball. You're going to be a 5 tool guy the whole way through because a lot of guys, you start to lose that power as you're facing better hitters. You start to lose that contact as you're facing better pitchers, stuff like that. You're a guy who can definitely, keep all of those qualities around. And I think, you're definitely going to do great things in baseball, especially when you're getting such high praise already. 22 is the lowest they think you're going to go, which again is wild to say out loud. Um, So we're gonna move on a little bit to the more like about you stuff.
Hmm.
Um, so being from Texas, obviously baseball culture is very big, a little overshadowed by football, but it is still very important, especially high school baseball. Um, so during the process of you committing to Mississippi State, what was that like? Like being a Texas kid, did you have offers from like the bigger Texas teams like TTU, Texas, stuff like that?
I mean, no, not really. So my freshman year, I actually committed to A&M, and then I decommitted because I decommitted last year going into that summer just because that coaching staff got fired and the new staff came in. I was like, I'm probably just going to open it back up and everything. So I feel like right when I opened it back up, it was really chaotic. Just knowing that, I mean, kind of almost every school in Texas kind of reached out, and then I went to East Cobb and played over there, and I played with the East Cobb Astros and all the teams out there, and I feel like it was a good learning experience as well, but it was very chaotic too. And then area code, and I did go to area code, and it just kind of kept coming in and coming in. So I kind of just sat down and kind of picked what I wanted to do, and kind of picked the schools I wanted to go visit, and then just seeing more of the development side and building a relationship with the coaching staff and all that and whatnot. So
A lot of people don't really understand baseball recruiting because you're committing when you're like 13.
yeah.
And it's very weird. Unlike, football, a lot of top guys commit senior year in January, like they're already moving in next spring. And you're
Mhm.
over here like, I'm going to A&M and I'm a freshman. But then being such, an upper echelon guy and coming back, on the market per se, so late into high school, I could understand how that could get chaotic very quickly. And I mean, you ended up with a pretty good choice. So they did, win a national championship
Yeah.
last year. But yeah, that's super interesting. I did not know that you had to decommit because of a coaching change. That's very, very cool. Not many people talk about baseball recruiting like at all because there's the minors and nobody's really pays that much attention to college baseball unless your college is good at it.
Yeah.
We'll move on a little bit here to who's a guy who's your favorite player, like growing up when you were like, 8? And then who's a guy who you modeled your game after this whole time?
I would say, when I was, yeah, probably my favorite player was like Mookie Betts, and I kind of really started liking Bobby Witt Jr. just kind of the way he plays and stuff. But and then I kind of modeled my game after Alex Bergman, just because him and Mookie are kind of the short guys. They're not that big, and then kind of the work ethic that Bregman has, just kind of knowing that what he went through too, and even Dustin Pedroia too. He's not the biggest guy. Like those are my kind of favorite players, just because they're the smaller guys, but then they go out there and ball. And but yeah,
That makes a lot of sense because, that is something that you've had to deal a lot with. That's like your game is incredible and it feels like, your size is the only thing anyone ever talks about. Um, which I could see how that could be very, very annoying. Uh, but you obviously have worked through that. You again keep your head down and you grind. Uh, Pedroia, Bregman makes sense. Those are two very, tough nosed guys. And then Mookie, because he has a lot of fun out there. And
mm-hmm.
I'm a big Bobby Witt guy.
Yeah,
So, hearing that, Bobby Witt's awesome.
yeah,
Like, I don't know how you could not like Bobby Witt.
for sure.
Uh,
Yeah,
again, makes a lot of sense. Moving on here. So, a lot of guys nowadays have been, doing a lot more of these showcases, USA Baseball, PBR games, perfect game showcases, stuff like that. Do you think those benefited you more or less than your actual high school career, being with a team every day and stuff like that?
I mean, I'd say it's a little bit of both. I mean, just kind of going out there. I mean, all that is kind of more of not really like. I mean, it's just showcase. You're kind of going out there. I mean, there's colleges going to be out there if you do good. I mean, yeah, great. But I mean, high school is kind of different. Just kind of play with them every day, practice with them. Like you go to school with them. I mean, they coach you or like your coaches and stuff. Like you're with them about 7 hours of the day. I mean, throughout school and then practice. So it's kind of like you know them like in and out. But then I feel like on the summer circuit, it's just a little bit different. Just I mean, the showcases and all that is different. I mean, because you're kind of out there just playing for yourself and trying to get your recruitment up. But I feel like, I mean, going to those events aren't going to hurt you. But if you don't go to them, I mean, it's not going to hurt you either. So
Yeah, a lot of guys go to those showcases, like especially, I mean, obviously USA Baseball is a little different. USA Baseball is like a pretty big deal. But a lot of guys, USA Baseball, I know guys who have gone just because of, kind of you get more information out of that than you're going to get from a high school field.
yeah, for
Like they have more cameras, more this, more that, more access to like velos and stuff like that. So, I know some guys who use it because of that. Is that something you look at when you're at those things, like the different analytics that they have access to on like when you're, just chilling in calculus?
I mean, I don't. I tend not to really look at all that. I'll look at it like every once in a while, but I'm more just gonna just go out there and play baseball. I mean, it's not really a thing that I'm gonna look at and then be like, oh, I like break my swing down. I mean, I feel like what I've been doing, I just don't change it. But I feel like going to those events and stuff is all good. But kind of like I said, I mean, if you go to that USA deal, I mean, that's going to be a great event just because you're learning from the best coaches and then you're playing with the best players. So it's like you're definitely going to build up your game and then you're going to get more knowledge at it. So I feel like that's definitely a good one. But the other ones, I mean, it's kind of just all, it's good and stuff. But I mean, like I didn't get invited to PDP or USA or anything or the Perfect Game All American, the Under Armour All American. So it's, I mean, I didn't really care about it that much. But I mean, it's kind of if you don't go to those things, I mean, it's not like anything's going to happen.
You not going to those things and being 16th ranked prospect kind of proves that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like it's not make or break. There's guys, down in the 200s getting invites to those things, and you're number 16 and you're not getting invites. So again, these aren't things that are going to make or break your stock and stuff like that. And some people think like that, and it's a misconception.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a quote here from Dallas News that says, you know, you just knew that waking up at 5 a.m. was not something most seventh graders were going to do. Um, so again, your work ethic is crazy. And when you're in seventh grade, what are you doing when you wake up at 5 a.m.? Like, what is the workout plan in seventh grade waking up at 5 a.m.?
I mean, just I went to my strength and conditioning guy. Um, it was about 20 minutes away, so every morning I'd have my mom wake me, or I'd wake up, wake my mom up, we'd go, and just kind of knowing that you just put in the work and kind of getting ready for that high school. I mean, I wanted to be a freshman on varsity, so I knew that I had to do things that people wouldn't, and most eighth graders aren't going to be waking up at 5:30 to go work out, and they're just going to be sleeping in. Then, I mean, I feel like just kind of doing that, and then I kind of fell in love with just getting better every day, and then it was always just the grind, the grind, the grind. So, I mean, I feel like that's definitely benefited me throughout my whole season and career.
Yeah, I mean, again, it seemingly is paid off, top 16, yeah, and all of that. Something that I've noticed, following you on Instagram, that's where we set this whole thing up. You clearly love, bringing the game to kids. There's pictures of you with kids who you sign balls for. And again, you're a high schooler and you're signing, balls for people. That's awesome. First of all, that's probably super surreal. But is it something you enjoy, bringing the game to younger audiences? You want everybody to love the game type thing?
Yeah, I mean, I had an older brother. I mean, I watched him grow up, and I was that young kid one time. So it's like I was that young kid one time, and I looked up to them, and I wanted to be like him and his teammates, and like kind of people that I looked up to when I was little. So it's like now that I'm in this spot, and kind of all the praise is on me and high school wise. I mean, we had the little kids that are always asking for stuff, and it's pretty awesome just knowing that kids and stuff are always like looking up to you. So it's kind of you always make sure you're doing the right thing. Not only are scouts watching you to do the right thing, but the little kids are always looking up to you. So you always want to set a good example for them, and then just kind of give back to them. And because like I was young that, or I was little that at one time. So
Yeah, speaking about, being young, it says here, you were 6 years old and playing coach bitch with 8-year-olds. So again, this, undersized misconception. This doesn't bother you. You were playing again with 8-year-olds when you were 6 out here, raking in coach pitch. Um, so has that just been, you've always just been a guy who always wants to be above where he's supposed to be? Is that just how you're, wired?
Yeah, just kind of knowing that. I mean, I always want to get better, and I feel like I always want to play with the best players in the country, just see how I stack up with them, and then just knowing that if they're the best players in the country, then that means I'm gonna step up my game, and then if I step up my game, then I mean I'll be fine. And just knowing that kind of the older brother situation too, just kind of always wanting to be like him when I got older. He was kind of like both of them were like my role models. So it's like I always wanted to be like them. And then I know that sooner or later, I mean, when I got into high school and college, I was going to be playing with older guys. So it's kind of get used to it.
All right. Here we go. This is my last thing before we move to questions from my mom.
Mhm.
Uh, you said you aren't a guy who, talks a lot in the bases, but you have a lot of swag when you're playing. Is that something, you just like wearing, 6 shades and having, your tattoos are awesome and like stuff like that. Like, is that something you're just like, man, I might as well, like, why not? Or did you like, you know, is it just natural for you?
It's kind of a little bit of natural, just kind of like I said, growing up with my older brothers, and then the teammates. Like he played with Steel Walker, and that was my one of my like dudes. Like I talked to him when I was little. Like I was always talking. Like he was kind of like my little best like as an older guy. Like I'd always go talk to him. Like he was the cool guy because he had all the jewelry and chains on. So just kind of growing up into it, and then it's like naturally. Like I feel like if I play with everything on and I have the swag and stuff, and I feel good, and then I'll play good. But if I kind of take it all off, then it's like something's off about my game. So
Yeah. Again, you're a smooth fielder. You look, smooth out there. So it makes a lot of sense that that would be the case. All right, we're gonna move to questions from my mom. So these are 4 questions, because my mom loves to listen to the podcast I do, and this is the first time that every week I'm interviewing someone. So, just 4 questions from my mom, and the first one, her favorite question to ask: your favorite home cooked meal and your favorite restaurant.
my favorite home cooked meal is probably biscuits and gravy by my mom, and my favorite restaurant and it's this sushi place in Rockwell.
Nice, nice. That's a answer I haven't gotten either of those answers yet. Like literally every answer has been steak or Chipotle.
Uh,
Um, so you're different. That's nice.
yeah,
I appreciate that. Question number 2 here is going to be your favorite, walk up song. She didn't say walk up song. She just said favorite song. And then your favorite genre of music.
um, genre music. Genre of music is. I mean, I like rap. Like if I'm working out and stuff, and then if I'm just kind of cruising in the car, I'll listen to a little bit of country. But walk up songs. If I'm walking to play, I don't know. It's probably something always different, but probably most likely like rap or something, just to kind of get you going.
Yeah, a little hype music. Never hurt nobody.
Yeah,
All right. Question number 3 from my mom is: what's your favorite vacation spot?
probably Cabo. And I actually just got back from Cabo last week.
Oh, okay, okay. So, Cabo, that's a pretty good vacation spot. I'm not gonna lie. That's a, nice little relaxing vacation on the beach and stuff like that. All right, and question number 4 from my mom. What is your favorite color and why?
Favorite color is baby blue. Um, it's kind of I don't know. It just it's kind of my favorite. Like I always kind of always have baby blue on, and then just kind of stuck with it ever since.
So just, little kid, you just picked a color and just stuck with it. Yeah, I did the same thing. I'm not gonna lie to you. Big blue guy.
Yeah,
And then my little brother's a big green guy. So, I get it. You just kind of pick something when you're like, 2 years old and it just sticks. Like you have one toy that's one color and
yeah, sure.
it's wraps forever.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, thank you again for coming on, man. That's gonna be all for me. Thank you everybody for listening. Again, follow my boy Jett here. He's gonna be, an absolute killer when it comes to baseball. Hopefully, see him in the majors, and Thank you again. We'll be rooting for you on the 17th, Jet, and thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you for having me.